Hey guys, it's Justin again with another lighting demonstration, shading demonstration, whatever you want to call it. I've been looking around online lately. I've been looking at different lighting techniques and things like that, and I want to mix my shading up a little bit. I like pre-shading, I like panel lighting, I like doing all that. It looks really neat. It adds a lot of depth to your model, but I want to try out new lighting techniques. I think this is a technique that's very commonly used in miniature painting, and a little bit in armor modeling, not so much that, but you see it from time to time. So what this is called is color modulation. This uses a mixture of pre-shading and post-shading. It creates a lot of contrast and very unrealistic looking lighting on your models, but I think that the contrast that you get when you use this technique is really cool looking. So let me lock my camera into place so that it doesn't move anymore, and we will get started. This has kind of been a spur of the moment thing. I've been working on the Cassie, but every time I touch anything the past couple days, it just made me mad. So I broke this guy out. I got it in the mail the other day, like 2 days ago. I snapped it together and I really liked it, and I just started modding it immediately, and here I am at the paint station. So this is all primed up. Now, the way color modulation works is it uses gradients instead of highlighting edges. So instead of going along this edge and trying to make a nice thin line across the edge, I'm going to make a gradient going this way. Now this is going to be my shadow color. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be laying a shadow color. I'm going to blend it with a base coat, and then I'm going to use a highlight coat on top of it. So you're going to use 3 colors. You can use more if you want a smoother transition. But I'm just going to use 3, just for the sake of example anyway. Now shadows, this shield is 90% of the time held this way, so I'm going to go ahead and instead of making this the bottom, I'm going to put my shadows up at the top, because modulation is supposed to be unrealistic. I want that contrast. That's all I want. I'm not going for realism here. I'm not going for a real life version of this. Now another thing that's neat with modulation is you can mix your shading up. I could put shadows on the top and the bottom and put the highlight in the middle if I wanted to, which might not be the worst thing ever. You can do it left or right. I think that might look a little silly, so I'm going to stay away from that one. But that's basically how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue. Got that nice and thin. Let me turn my pressure up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And I'm going to angle my part. And I'm just going to start building it. There we go. So that's the first step to that. We're going to get the bottom here. So it looks a little something like that. Now remember, I've never done this, so this is just an experiment. Shoot, I didn't even think about the back side of this. I guess for the back side, I'll just do a gradient. Build some thin layers and I guess that'll do. I don't know. Okay, so we'll do one more piece just for the sake of demonstration. Let's do the V-fin. The V-fin is going to be, again, very unrealistic. I want my shadows on the end of the V-fin, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint the edges of that blue, like the tips. I'm just going to try and work my color out. So, something like that. So I'm going to go get all the rest of these painted up. We'll do the whites only for now, and then I'll move on to the reds and the yellows and the blues on my own. So, I'll be back. Okay. So, I've gone ahead and I've done all the white parts up. All the shading on, all that is done. And it looks really neat right now. Lots of gradients all over the place. It's a shoulder piece. Here's the foot. Looks really neat. So we're gonna, I guess, demonstrate on the legs. So here's the calf. Not the calf, the thigh. And then here's the actual leg. I split the gradient. So, what comes next? We are going to lay down our base color. Now for this, I'm using Gaia's Gray 2. I'm just going to put the Gray 2 down and just blend it, basically. And then from there, that's going to let me kind of even out my shading. It's going to be a good way to fix any mistakes I made. So if I slipped up a little bit in the first step, that's fine. I can go back and fix it. And then in this step, I'll be able to push some of that back and I can build that color up. And in the last step, we'll highlight it. So I'm going to show you on these pieces here. So we'll start with this. What I'm going to do here is I'm just literally going to mist this color over the whole piece. And then I'm going to start building it from the bottom. You push that shading back some so that it's not so strong. There's still a contrast there and there's still plenty of shading that's showing through, but it's subtle. There we go. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So you can see it's nice and even in like a ring that kind of bleeds down. So we'll do the other one, and then we will come back for highlights. So remember, just mist the color over lightly. A couple very light layers, a couple light passes, and you'll start to see coverage. And then you want to just start blending it up. So I might go over that again real lightly, just to you know, make sure that it's not too blue. But right now I'm happy with it. So we'll come back, we'll talk about highlighting and wrap this up. Okay, so all the parts are finally, my hand is killing me, all the parts are finally blended in and shaded and all that stuff. You can see what the leg looks like. I did a bunch of other ones. Nice and glossy looking. But what comes next? So we need to put a highlight on the top. For this, I'm going to be using Mr. Color 316 white. It's just a pure white, and I'm just going to be putting a thin thing of it across the top, and then a mist over everything just to bring it all together. So it's really not that noticeable on the white. It'll be more noticeable. The third tone will be more noticeable on like the reds and the gray, or the grays, wow. The yellows and things like that, where there's actual color. This just creates something so that I've got like a barrier, I guess, between my white and my gray. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I will put some final pictures or something towards the end here so you can see what it all looks like finished, I guess, and you can see the effects of everything, and I guess maybe give you some impressions, and then we'll go on from there. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so here he is. He's all snapped up and painted and flat coated and all that stuff. As you can see, the colors are very contrasting in a lot of weird spots. Like down here at the bottom of the foot, it's blue, and then at the top of the thigh, it's blue. At the bottom of this, it's blue. I kind of tried to mix it up a little bit. The biggest spot you can see the contrast is on the blue parts themselves, and you can see it a little bit on the shield for the reds. You can see the browns kind of towards the bottom. I tried to keep it kind of subtle, so it still looked like my normal shading, but I also wanted to mix up how I did it so that those who did pick up on it and notice it would see the different effects. I tried to place it in ways or in places that would look good, rather than just kind of throwing it all over the place and not really planning it too much. But this is a really neat style, and the reason that I chose this style over zenithal lighting is when you do zenithal lighting, the idea is that your light source is coming from one direction, and you shade everything using that light source as your guide. And that's a cool idea, but once you pose your model kit, that changes. So if you go with an incredibly unrealistic looking shading scheme, it creates a lot of contrast and it brings a lot of attention to details that people might not have otherwise noticed, but it still doesn't break the way the light works when you're posing the kit, because it didn't work to begin with, if that makes any sense. So it's a really cool style. It saves you a lot of paint, I think. You'll end up using more colors, but I think as a whole you don't have to worry about trying to shade the exact lines. You just kind of shade general areas and do things like that, and I think it's a really neat stylistic choice. I'll probably end up doing it a couple more times in the future, but right now this is it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, hopefully you guys learned a little something, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.